And back at the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Indy 500 time trial day. It is pole day at Indianapolis, and the weather has moved in. Rains have moved across the racetrack, and you see the threatening clouds in the distance, and apparently the radar doesn't look very good either. It is our pleasure to be joined by the president and chief operating officer of the Indy Racing League, Brian. Every time I talk to you, you've been promoted again. So, Brian Barnhart, glad to have Brian over. And, Brian, what's the status of the track today and pole qualifying?
Well, unfortunately, Mother Nature didn't appreciate and cooperate with us today, so we are going to cancel activities for today, and we are going to move the entire pole day activities to tomorrow.
Now, under the new format, we have 11 cars on Saturday today, supposedly, and 11 tomorrow. What will happen tomorrow? Will we have all 22 be eligible to have those 22 spots filled?
We will begin practice at 9:30 in the morning, and we'll do the first half of the draw from 9:30 to 10, the second half of the draw from 10 to 10:30, practice all cars from 10:30 to 11. We'll begin pole day activities at noon and run pole day activities all the way through 6, and we will take 22 positions tomorrow.
So under the new format now, we've tried to explain to fans at home that this is pretty unique, and everyone's excited about what could happen. The fact that we would possibly see bumping before bump day here in Indianapolis.
Well, that's what it was designed for, and we're a little disappointed we didn't get a chance to have bumping at positions 11, because we think we'd have had some really good teams and strong teams making some very difficult strategic decisions with regards to tire allocations, with regards to pit selection and positioning for the Indianapolis 500. And unfortunately, since Mother Nature didn't cooperate, we're going to end up doing 22 cars tomorrow, because our goal is to make sure we come out of the first weekend with 22 cars. So we've kind of lost some of that drama and intrigue. Fortunately, we will have the most dramatic day in motorsports, in my opinion. The pole drama will run for all 6 hours tomorrow, and very similar to what we had in 2003 when Helio Castroneves made a late run for the pole.
You know, in years past, you could only have 3 attempts per car for the month of May. Now, with this new rule or modification, it's 3 attempts per car per day. So tomorrow, everyone could have 3 attempts, and that's phenomenal. And the drivers are already thinking about it. It'd be like saying Tiger Woods, you can go back and play 18 again, and you get to try that putt one more time and see if you can take over the leaderboard. I mean, that's going to be sensational.
Well, we think it's going to add a lot of excitement to it. Again, the teams will have that opportunity, and by doing so with the same car and the same engine, you have the capability of extending the life of the equipment. And it's just going to put a burden on the team from a strategy standpoint, because if they do that, they have to withdraw the speed of a car that's already in the field, whether it's in the T car or the same car. You can't go out on track if that driver is already in the field. He has to make that decision. And that puts a lot of pressure and a lot of burden on him to make a tough call.
You know, I noticed yesterday in the drivers' meeting that this is a new process, and it's very exciting, but I think it is a complex qualifying strategy, and I think there's a lot of strategies and a lot of scenarios that the team owners and the drivers don't understand just yet. And, you know, you had Roger Penske and Kim Green and Scott Remke from Rahal. You had all these guys asking some very pointed questions, so you can see there's a lot of strategy, a lot of thinking going on. The one question I do have is, since there's not 11 cars today and 11 cars tomorrow, does that mean each car has 6 attempts tomorrow or still just 3?
No, it'll still be just 3, because we're going to run it as pole day only, and it'll be 3 attempts per day. This is 1 day of qualifying, so 3 attempts per car.
What opted, and you opted to go back to the 4 days of qualifying this year to return to tradition, and I think everyone in the garage area, despite the fact this could be a little bit unusual and it could be a little bit exciting and hair-raising late in the day, why do the 11 per day like that? I mean, I guess everyone says in the 3 attempts per car, because some of the guys are saying now what happens is even on first day qualifying, if I see a driver walking through here that I like that haven't been around in a while, I can put him in one of my backup cars and try to put him on the racetrack.
Well, we think it adds a lot of excitement to it, and the biggest reason for doing so is that the days of track records and qualifying are gone, and the biggest thing fans like about qualifying is the bumping process. So now we've created a situation where you have the potential for bumping on every day, and we're just trying to give the fans a little bit of what they like, add a little strategic positioning for the teams, and really make them make some tough and dramatic calls.
Brian, I know you run the league and you run the overall picture here, but I just got to ask you, after what we've seen the Honda be awfully strong as far as the parity among engines. Honda with 3 wins this year. Sam Hornish takes a Toyota and puts it on the pole at Honda's home track at Motegi. And then yesterday, it seems like Chevy's worked so hard, and here come the Panther guys out of the box with the fastest lap of the month. That's got to make all the officials pretty happy, knowing these engines are that close.
Well, the manufacturers have done a great job with Honda leading the way last year, winning 14 out of 16 races. You know, that certainly sends a message to Chevrolet and Toyota, and they've done a great job catching up. And that's why I think the drama of pole day tomorrow is going to be outstanding, because we will have, you know, 10, 12, 15 cars capable of sitting in the front row, and it's going to be a neat day.
All three engine manufacturers represented to both chassis, and a lot of drivers, including an impressive rookie that's been a lot of the story for the month of May. Hey, Brian, we know you're very busy. Thanks for coming by and giving us the update on what's going on. We're excited about our coverage tomorrow, as pole day will now be on Sunday, and we'll take 22 instead of 11. When we come back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we'll talk more about what's going to happen on pole day tomorrow, now that rains have washed out activity here on what was to be pole day, day one of Indy 500 qualifying. 22 spots will be up for grabs tomorrow. Bumping will take place. Yes, I said bumping will take place. You don't want to miss it, folks. A modified qualifying schedule is going to throw you from start to finish. And we'll have all those stories tomorrow with our coverage from here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Hey, you gotta be good.
Back at a raining Indianapolis Motor Speedway, pole day has been washed away. We will be back tomorrow with pole qualifying, but there has been drama for many, many years here with regard to what happens on pole day. In 1991, this day was a day in which two legends, Rick Mears and A.J. Foyt, with 7 Indy 500 wins between them, had one of their finest moments in battles at the Brickyard. On that day, both men conquered challenges they had never faced before.
In the early fall of 1990, 55-year-old A.J. Foyt's unmatched racing career nearly ended. Foyt suffered multiple fractures to both feet and legs when his car crashed into an earthen embankment at Road America. Despite the injuries and naysayers, Foyt vowed to be back in his race car by May of 1991 for his 34th consecutive and final Indy 500.
The president, I like to prove them wrong if I can, so I think that's one thing that drives me quite a bit. And I'm determined myself. When people think A.J. Foyt's down, that's when I'll fight harder.
The road to recovery was a long, hard fight, as A.J. Foyt was facing one of his life's toughest challenges. By May, Foyt, now 56, was practicing like all of the other drivers at the Brickyard and ready to qualify. On the day before pole qualifying, 5-time Indy pole winner Rick Mears experienced something that had never happened in his 14 years at Indianapolis. He crashed. Something broke on the right rear of his car. His machine spun over 400 feet before smacking the turn 1 wall. Mears limped out of the car and was transported to Methodist Hospital. It was reported that he had suffered a bruised right foot.
In one respect, it was almost a relief, you know, to run that many years and you see it happening all around you. You know, over the years, it's kind of, it has to happen, you know, at some point in time. You know, we have to hit the fence here.
Pole day was hot, humid, and historic. Foyt was first in the qualifying line, and he received a thunderous welcome when he took the green flag. His first lap kept the crowd on their feet.
And you'll like it. Speed first time around. 221.174 miles an hour.
Foyt's laps got faster, and the roar grew louder.
222.211 miles an hour. A.J. is on his way. And he is on the main straightaway. 34 consecutive qualifications in Indianapolis.
When the speed of his final lap was announced, the possibility of A.J. Foyt on the pole was real.
A 223 mile an hour.
In dramatic fashion, A.J. Foyt was back, and for a rare moment, overcome with emotion.
I wasn't thinking about what A.J. Foyt did, but I think I was so happy for everybody that worked so hard with me. I was more happy for them than I was myself, because I think they were just as happy as I was, and maybe a little bit more happier.
Meanwhile, the midday sun brought the track temperature to over 90 degrees. And while some drivers were pulling out of the qualifying line, Mears decided to make an attempt in his backup car less than 24 hours after his crash. His first lap was quicker than Foyt's 4-lap average.
Speed 223.447 miles an hour.
Like Foyt, Mears' laps kept getting faster.
And it's still faster, over 224 miles an hour.
Sore foot and all, his 4-lap average was nearly 2 miles per hour faster than Foyt's. Now Mears was on the pole. Moments later, car owner Roger Penske pulled Mears' teammate Emerson Fittipaldi out of the qualifying line, hoping that Emo would make a run for the pole in cooler conditions later in the day. But an afternoon thunderstorm would deny Fittipaldi the opportunity and give Mears an unprecedented 6th pole at Indy. It had been a historic day at the Speedway, with history striking more than once. By race day, Foyt's saga had already reached its climax. His 34th Indy 500, which turned out to be his next to last 500, ended after just 25 laps when his suspension was broken by debris from another crash. But despite his race day disappointment, A.J. Foyt covets his courageous return to Indy as much as any race win.
I'd have to say that rates among the tops of them because, you know, in 65, 66, I got hurt and burnt, and then come back and win Indy in 1967 with a break. But I would have to say that would have to be one of the tops right there.
For Mears, race day would be his finest hour. He ran near the front all day, but his right foot was still a major concern.
Pretty soon I moved my left foot over on top of my right foot and pushed the throttle down with my left foot. Then I could pull back with my right leg and take pressure off the side of the foot. And I found out it didn't hurt that way. So it hurt a lot less.
Here they come. Let's see who will do it. There they are. And it's Rick Mears. Rick Mears in turn 1. Michael getting around him on the outside. Down the backstretch, Michael got him.
From that restart on, I ran it normally with the right foot. It was painful, but at that point, you know, the adrenaline's going and it's time to go, and that gets your mind off of it.
There goes Mears to the outside, and Mears is trying to he got him. Mears now leads.
Rick Mears becomes the third four-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, winning the Diamond Jubilee Edition, the 75th running of this great speed classic.
As Mears basked in the glory of his historic win, it turned out he had been keeping a significant secret.
The foot, you know, I think we ended up saying it was bruised or whatever, you know, when we came back from the hospital, but I had actually fractured a couple bones in the right foot. I didn't want any reasons possible that I might not be able to run this race, so we just kind of kept that to ourselves.
14 years ago, the racing world witnessed two giants overcome unique yet similar obstacles. One journey was sudden and irritating, the other slow and excruciating. But both men used their hearts and feet to climb back to where they always belonged.
And I'm joined now by A.J. Foyt, his grandson A.J. Foyt IV, and his son Larry Foyt. A.J., what kind of emotion is provoked after watching that piece?
Well, it's great to bring back a lot of great memories. And the only thing I can see now that I've gained a lot of weight and I need to lose it. I was in a lot better shape then than I am now, but just going to have to work at it. And like I said, it really brings back memories and how we worked hard to try to get on the pole. And, you know, take my hat off to the Penske bunch. And they run a great organization, but still at the same time, I always felt like I was pretty competitive with them.
You know, we saw the drama there of pole day and how important it was and what could happen. Now, as a team owner, and especially being the grandfather and the father of the two boys racing for you, how is it different now on pole day?
It's a lot different. You know, these boys are young, don't have the experience that I had here, and their foot's a little bit light. But no, all in all, they do a great job. And we're a little handicapped, you know. I've never been here where I kind of had handcuffs and we couldn't do just exactly what we wanted to do. But, you know, with the manufacturers being in, which is good, our hands are kind of tied in engine departments. And so we just got to go with what we got. And one day you're a hero and next day you're on the back row. So that's kind of where we're sitting at right now at the present time. You know, we're all working hard. I know Toyota's working hard. But let's face it, Honda's got us blowed off. And there ain't no sense hiding about it.
Hey, Anthony, this is your third 500 now. It's different this year. We've changed up the qualifying schedule. What are your thoughts about the new qualifying rules?
I think it's definitely better that they made a change to make it more interesting for the fans, since we don't have as many cars as they used to have. So I think it's a good idea the way they got it now.
What about the drama on pole day? They're supposed to only take 11 now on the first day. As he said, you guys are a little handicapped. What do? Do you go out there and try to qualify on the first day?
Well, I don't think we plan on qualifying today, but since they'll be running, I think tomorrow they plan on taking 22 cars, so I think we're going to definitely try to get out there and be in the top 22, and hopefully we can get that done where we don't have to wait a whole nother week.
Now, Larry, you come out here. This is the one IndyCar race that you do participate in. It's your second year. What did you learn last year that you're going to bring with you this year?
I learned a ton, and like my dad said, keep it down when they're going under you. That's a big lesson I learned last year. But I love this place. You know, this place is why I wanted to be in auto racing, and being here and running with my dad and being able to hang out with Anthony, just having a lot of fun. And like I said, not a whole lot of pressure on us today because we're not running for the pole. So got another week to get our cars up to speed. And I think we, you know, my dad keeps our cars pretty conservative with us to give us time to get up to speed. And he never likes to show his hand till it's really time to go. So I look forward to see what we got.
All right, we'll be seeing Larry Foyt, Anthony Foyt IV out there, and of course we'll be talking to you, AJ. It's always great to see you, four-time champion in the Indy 500. It's something special.
Nice talking to you. Looking forward.
All right, Dr. Punch.
Thank you very much, Jamie. You saw A.J. Foyt's shirt, by the way, the announcement earlier in the week that the folks, Ken Hendricks and the folks at ABC Supply Company out of Beloit, Wisconsin. Now, Ken Hendricks is sort of a self-made man, hooking on with another self-made man, A.J. Foyt, for a long-term sponsorship. So the cars will be red, white, and blue, very patriotic colors. But, A.J., those great memories he's given us over the years, Greg. And, I mean, that you said, as you were watching that video a moment ago, that you said you remember that race like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's amazing watching that piece about A.J. Foyt and Rick Mears. It brought back all those memories before I even ever got into a race car. And, you know, both of A.J. Foyt and Rick Mears, they're living legends, and they're certainly my heroes, and they definitely inspired me to get in a car.
Well, you know, A.J. Foyt talking about how the sport has fluctuated a little bit and some of the cost involved in the sport. Obviously, now he just got a major sponsorship announcement this week, but even someone like A.J., unless you get a lot of help, you got to have the money to pay for what you need nowadays.
Yeah, it's quite a different situation. The rules have changed, participation has changed, and it's not like you can just go down and get a car and get a motor and come out and run. It's not something you can do at the last minute. It takes a lot more forethought to get it together.
Well, there are plenty of veterans here, and there are also a number of rookies, including rookies who are reigning series champions. Sebastian Bourdais, one of 8 rookies this year in Indianapolis, hails from Le Mans, France. When we come back, we'll talk about where he came from and why it was so important to grow up near a 24-hour endurance event. And back at a rainy Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where pole day qualifying has been washed out and rescheduled for Sunday afternoon. Here we'll be back with our live coverage on Sunday. Now, moments ago, we showed you Sebastian Bourdais, the reigning Champ Car champion, one of 8 rookies in this year's Indianapolis 500 rookie class. He hails from Le Mans, France, home of the famous 24-hour sports car endurance classic, a race he competed in, by the way, 5 times. Sebastian says the 2 tracks aren't as different as one might think. They both have tradition and lots of it.
The big similarity is the first time you go out there, you wondering what you're doing. You know, it's like, holy heck, what I'm doing there. You know, it's intimidating, and you think about all these big champions, you know, who won that race, and both here and in Le Mans, it's full of very, very big names. So it's intimidating, and when you go out there the first time, it's a strange feeling.
Since coming to the United States in 2003 to compete in the Champ Car World Series, Sebastian has racked up an amazing 11 wins in 33 starts, and last year won that series championship. He's also tasted success in closed fendered cars, making a daring three-wide pass of World of Outlaw champion Steve Kinser and former NASCAR Cup champ Matt Kenseth to win the most recent round of the International Race of Champions.
It's been a strong point for me in the last few seasons, been to adapt very fast, and for sure here it's a combination, you know, for the Indy 500 between the car and the driver, both experience and feeling. As long as you work as hard as you can, and sometimes a bit over that, you know, there's only so much you can expect, but whoever wins the Indy 500 is, he knows he achieved something huge, and Monaco, Daytona, Le Mans, Indy, one of these big names, every time you have a chance to win that, it's a huge break in your career.
Definitely Sebastian Bourdais is a driver that many believe will be a contender on race day, and so will his teammate Bruno Junqueira, a former pole winner here. But first, Sebastian, for you, your first time at Indianapolis, you're the reigning Champ Car World Series champion. Do you feel a little additional pressure with that role?
Not really. I mean, I'm a real beginner and, you know, considered as a rookie here in Indy 500, so we're just going to give it our best shot, but very happy that the Centrix team has been able to put it together for both Bruno and I, and you know, with a regular engineering office from Newman-Haas Racing, I think we did pretty good during this week to prepare the race.
In what ways have you felt like a rookie?
Well, just in so many ways, because I have absolutely no experience on super speedways. My only experience is one-day test in Fontana with a champ car, so you can see it's pretty limited.
Bruno, have you helped Sebastian out in some ways, getting familiar with the speedway?
I mean, we work together to try to make the Newman-Haas Centrix car faster. That's the best way to help. I mean, we hope we can have fast cars for the race and well balanced. Fortunately, yesterday rains didn't help us to work on a qualifying setup, but you have a little half-an-hour practice tomorrow. That's what we're gonna have to adjust the qualify.
You were the pole winner here in 2002. Does that give you an advantage when you go out under difficult circumstances tomorrow?
You know that you have to drive on the limit all the 4 laps, and I'm sure that all the drivers are going to do is the same. But I pretty much know what the car needs to feel like to be fast around here. You have to be flat in a very neutral car, so the key is to have the car on that setup to do that.
This team will not be able to qualify here at Indianapolis next weekend, so tomorrow is critical for the Newman-Haas team and Team Centrix. Let's go upstairs to Jerry Punch.
Exactly, Vince. The Team Centrix drivers have to get those cars in the field tomorrow. For those of you just joining our coverage, we'll remind you that qualifying has been postponed because of rains here today. We will have 22 spots filled on Sunday here as pole day now moves along with second day qualifying. All the one day on Sunday, 22 spots. After the top 22, we begin bumping tomorrow. Remember, each car will have 3 attempts on Sunday to get in the field, as qualifying for the pole will come your way tomorrow. How about the Target-Ganassi guys? Will they be a factor? Let's find out as we head down to their garage and Jamie Little.
Well, Jerry, I know that they hope that they are definitely a factor once we get out on the track. First, we have Ryan Briscoe. He is our rookie this year, one of the, 8 rookies out there this year. Ryan, you've been smiling all weekend. I know you're working with Arie Luyendyk Sr. How much is that helping you adapt to Indy?
It's been great. I mean, you know, I met him last Sunday when I was out here for the rookie orientation, and he's been a big help to me the whole time, always giving me useful advice and listening in on the feedback I've been giving about the car, and it's been really good. I mean, the whole Target crew, they've just been on the job the whole week, and you know, we're here ready to go on pole day, and it's just turned out to be a pretty relaxing day.
Pretty relaxing for you guys, but last week wasn't so relaxing. You had to go through rookie orientation. What was that like?
It was good. I mean, it was just a good way to, you know, become acclimatized with the circuit and the car and everything. I just had to go through the various speed phases. It was pretty easy, but you know, it meant no rushing into it, and just having a more relaxed approach to the whole event.
Well, we're happy to see you here, number 33, Ryan Briscoe. We move over here. Darren Manning, he's always fun to talk to. Little personality, a little crash, a big crash the other day, though, Darren, we have to talk about. It's amazing that you're standing here. I'm sorry, I have to bring it up. Are you okay?
Bossy stood over there, so can we talk about something else? No, I'm okay. A little bit of a sore back, a little bit of a headache, but yeah, we were just a bit too trimmed out, really, and I was just getting up to speed a little bit too fast on cold tyres, and with the wind direction what it was, you know, turning through turn 2, just turned into the headwind and it just pinned the front end on me and spun me around. So I was a bit fortunate. I kind of scrubbed off a lot of speed, unlike Buddy. You know, he went straight into the wall. I actually managed to spin the car down the track a little bit of the way and take quite a bit of speed off. So I'm all right. I could get straight out of the car with only a bit of a spin, you know, a bit of a spin in my head, but at least I didn't damage my back.
You know, there's been a lot of talk about turn 2. Why do you think these crashes are happening there?
I don't know. I mean, the track's just in such good condition. It's so smooth, and with this diamond cut they've put on there, it's just got so much grip. You know, we're really trimming the cars out a lot, and you know, the speeds are already 5 miles an hour faster than what we were doing last year in pole, what Buddy's pole was, in fact. You know, so and we're not even on qualified spec engines or anything, so we'll probably go even faster than that. And we're so trimmed out because of the grip in the track. You know, just a little gust of wind can make such a big difference in these cars' feel, and I think that's what's just catching a few of us out.
All right, we move over here to Scott Dixon, 2003 IndyCar Series champion. Scott, I know you guys, there's been a lot of talk about mixing up the chassis. You guys have gone back and forth from the Panos to the Dallara. Now you're back to Panos. What's the difference here?
It's hard to tell. I think, you know, Team Target's just trying to get a sort of you know, an understanding of where the other teams are coming from, and with the Dallara, it's been a good chance for all of us to learn, to see if we're missing in some areas, and I think it has helped the team a lot. And you know, going in advance of a 3-car team has helped a lot. So I think if it was still a 2-car team, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So it's been a steep learning curve, especially with the Japan, and unfortunately we didn't get a race under our belt with the car. But you know, so far so good. You know, at the moment we've gone back to the G-Force just because we understand it a lot more, and I think easier for us because of the shorter month.
So right now you feel like you guys have a chance at this? We've heard both things about Toyota. We just heard AJ Foyt talking about it. What is your take?
You know, Toyota's, you know, pushing big time, and it's always hard coming from behind because, you know, the other people are making, you know, big jumps as well. So it's been difficult, but, you know, qualifying, I think we should have a very good chance and you know, hopefully nail it in the top 11.
Well, Chip Ganassi is certainly a winner, and he's not going to go down without a fight. 3 drivers to look for. Guys?
Thank you, Jamie. Scott Dixon's come a long way after swapping back to the Panos. 226.816, 9th quickest or 8th quickest overall. He'll be a factor on pole day come tomorrow. Well, it was supposed to be pole day here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but Mother Nature had a different idea. The rains have moved in. You see how dark it has gotten and overcast here. They have canceled activities here today, and we will have no qualifying today. The good news is we'll have lots of qualifying coming your way tomorrow here from the world's greatest race course. And Greg Ray, you were here 8 times, 4 times you started on the front row, so you know a lot about what happens on pole day. How much does this racetrack now change with all the rain we've seen here today?
Well, I think most racetracks change a lot with rain and sun and washing away all the rubber that's in the groove. It changes a lot. But the simple fact that they have the diamond ground surface, there is so much grip that I don't think it's going to have outcome at all.
Do you sit with your engineer tonight and say, we got to tweak it a little bit because we got to really be looser on the edge of out of control, as Harry Hogg would say in Days of Thunder? I mean, you got to be loose to be fast here.
Yeah, obviously there's going to be very, very little input. Loose is fast, but I think as far as the setups and their game plan and what they're going to try to do tomorrow, that's not going to change. Not for the top guys going for the pole. It's going to have a big change on the effect of the cars that are going to be maybe the second 11 qualifiers. Everybody wants to get in tomorrow so they can focus on race next week.
We'll have pole day qualifying for you tomorrow right here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Right now, how about some encore coverage of the Firestone Japan Indy 300? We go out to Twin Rig Motegi with Todd Harris and Scott Goodyear having the call. Back here with pole qualifying, though, tomorrow.